T, this is the guy. The paramedic.
Wallet biopsy? Nice. Very nice.
These people are saying I took money from your wallet? Fuck that.
Whoa, what'd you say?
I was looking for proof of insurance. I was only doing my job.
I heard a lot of that at Nuremberg. You owe me $2K. It was gone from my wallet.
I don't have that kind of money.
1 week. Rudy Diaz, or you'll need a paramedic.
You're listening to.
You're listening to.
You're listening to.
Y'all are listening to What's Left of the South.
Thank you for tuning in to What's Left of the South, a podcast about Southern working class history and current events with leftist perspective. This podcast is brought to you by being in a new tax bracket, testosterone levels, anxiety, living at home, aging parents, Ian Finance, Kaiser being stalked by Civil War reenactors, Nelson finally getting a real job moving out of his mother's house, Tyler's hiatus, which will inevitably lower our listener count, and Sweet Mark, the rootinest, tootinest sheriff Pigeon Forge has ever seen this side of the Mississippi, and Quentin Tarantino's foot fetish. As always, I'm Nelson with...
Mark. I hate you. That was an awful new opening.
How was that awful? How was that awful? You get stalked by Civil War reenactors.
They get closer each time you look away.
Every time. It's like that movie It Follows, except this boomer's in like Civil War attire.
Please let our guests introduce themselves so I don't have to think about it anymore.
And our guest this evening is
Jay Gallion.
Yay! And now a message from our very own Sweet Mark.
All right. So you said you wanted fanfare. I'm letting the little trumpet play. Thank you. I'm finally getting top surgery, but they're not going to accept my insurance. So I did put together, right. Who would have imagined in this lovely, kind world we live in that a doctor would take health insurance? They only take 30 kinds of Blue Cross Blue Shield and nothing else. So, hooray. Good news is they're actually going to do it. So, bad news.
You have to come up with the money up front, right?
Right. I have to have it paid in full a week before I get operated on, or I don't get my money back. So, fun. So I did set up a GoFundMe if anyone wants to help. Or if anyone wants to share it, that'd be really cool of you. Of course, no one owes me anything. I just
stop.
Yes.
Okay.
They owe you everything. How many times has Sweet Mark made you laugh? How many times?
Basically, if you are listening to this episode right now, you can give money, and if you can't, which is understandable, you can share it. Those are your only two options.
Yeah, or Kai will come and literally throw you in a swamp full of alligators. You're gonna get removed. Agabish.
I highly appreciate it.
How many times has Mark's giggle brought joy to your life? Mark's giggle brings joy to the masses. Okay, so you better fucking give Mark money for this fucking surgery.
Jesus, Nelson.
Or I'm gonna fucking show up to your house with Kai. Kai's gonna take your fucking scalp, and we're gonna throw you in a fucking swamp full of alligators.
And
the last thing you're gonna see is Mark's smiling face at you,
enough
saying,
of the threats.
"You should have gave money."
Shut up!
Let me entice all these people that are on the left with a gainful thing. They'll get something. Maybe we're gonna try to organize something to where maybe we can raffle something off, and so you'll get something for it. But as of right now, it's just a GoFundMe. I'm sorry, I don't have any prizes or anything sparkly to dangle in front of you just yet. But
if you pay for Mark's top surgery, all three of us will come hang out with you in person. We'll do it. We'll do
You're
a
not gonna
podcast.
have like a little like caveat to that.
No, if you give Mark the entire amount of money, we will literally come hang out with you. We will spend the day with you, and we will podcast wherever you are.
We will
You'll
pay.
be on
We
the
will pay for
podcast.
exactly one background check.
Yeah.
I'll dance at your wedding.
We'll just show up. You're like, oh man, it'll be so awesome. Hang out my favorite
We won't even
podcast.
pick a date. We'll just show up one day.
Just fucking show up. You'll be like, oh man, it'll be so awesome to hang out my
So leave
favorite
the porch light
podcast.
on.
And like a few hours, you just leave the porch. A few hours, you're like, God, these guys are a bunch of fucking losers. We're taking you to Chili's, and you're just gonna listen to Kai and I cackle for 2 hours while Mark has a panic attack.
I'll be all right because I'll be fixed. I'll be a new.
We'll eat so much food.
You're gonna get fixed, okay? Are you gonna get the little green tattoo, or are you gonna get your ear tipped?
Maybe both. Depends on how much money I get.
Mark, you're getting the like Frankenstein staples, right? You already
No.
decided on that? No, you said
Tacky.
you were getting that cool Frankenstein staples tattoo.
Tacky. I'm gonna get a bald eagle.
The bald
With
eagle
the wings spread.
just says, hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, it's got like a tattered American flag in its talons. It's got a AK-47 in one talon and then like a rag of American flag in the other,
I got these scars during the class war
and a rainbow
of
trout.
2020.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Jay, we're sorry.
Just gotta get it out. So yeah, there's a link for it
It's in the link tree.
in the link tree. So
So-
And it'll be in the show notes.
Yes. The
I
link
would
tree,
highly
yeah, it's all
appreciate
be in
it.
the show notes. And when you go to the link tree, it's the first link and it has Sweet Mark's face.
It sure does.
My mom donated.
I saw that. Tell her thank you.
He
for
was
my
like,
pretty
I hear somebody
face."
for Sweet Mark. Now you out of my house.
The money that she said she was going to give you to come visit us just all goes into Mark's surgery now.
Oh man.
All right, come on, let's get down to the episode. Let's go.
This Jay, you're like our first guest in like a month and a half because I've decided to like uproot my life and move like an hour up the road. But yeah. So thank you for coming on. And we're gonna talk about I'm gonna hand it over to you. What are we gonna be talking about today?
I believe the Appalachian Queer Film Festival is
Yay!
what we're here to talk about.
Where Quentin Tarantino's not welcomed.
Right. I mean, yeah, and anything I guess surrounding Appalachian queer stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess the main question is like, when did this get started? Like, what is the Appalachian Queer Film
Yeah,
Festival?
so it originated in 2013 in West Virginia. That's where we were born from and are currently still in as far as our film festivals right now in West Virginia. But it started with two founders named John Matthews and Tim Ward. Essentially, Tim Ward wanted to do a queer film festival in Appalachia since that does not exist or did not exist until that time. And John, who is a filmmaker and director from West Virginia, but now lives in LA, got on board. And so, yeah, it started in 2014. We've been going ever since. We had a brief hiatus when COVID hit in 2019, and this will be our first year back since the pandemic.
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
I guess the big question, a lot of people like people that what I've run into in the past that are not from the South of Appalachia are just like, what do you mean there's different people in the South in Appalachia? So like
Mhm.
how popular has this gotten since its inception? And how
Yeah.
many I guess people like bring their films, like how does one get involved? And like how popular is this how popular has this become since its inception?
Yeah. So it's kind of varied throughout the years. It's definitely grown as it started. As far as like attendees and things like that. I think it all kind of depends on like the city that we pick in West Virginia and also like our venue size. But it's like over the years with a definite like increase in interest and people kind of like getting to know it and then spreading the word about it. This year is actually like our biggest venue yet. It's in Huntington, West Virginia. It's in a theater called the Foundry Theater, which actually seats like over 800 folks. Normally we're like in little tiny sort of indie theaters and things like that. So we're hoping it'll be our biggest one year yet. Normally we've just sort like John normally like curates the films and kind of picks what the lineup will be for the weekends. This year we're doing something a little bit different where we have accepted like submissions from folks all over the country and outside of the country as well, with like a strong emphasis and priority towards Appalachian filmmakers or queer and trans filmmakers, particularly Appalachian and queer and trans filmmakers. So yeah, that's kind of like the direction that we're going in now, to try to get like more opportunity for folks that don't really have a lot of maybe opportunities to have their films screened in the Appalachia area or the South area in particular. Yeah.
I guess so. How many submissions did y'all get this year? Like I figured that it's like it's gone up since its inception, but it's just like a like how many, like I guess when you put out the call for like these submissions, like how many did y'all get?
We got over like 70 this time. And we're about to actually release our schedule of films like in a couple days. And so we have over like 40 films being shown for the 3 days. Some of them are shorts. So like we're literally talking about like some of the films are like 3-minute experimental like art films, which are cool. And then others are like full length sort of documentary type things. But this is definitely our biggest one yet. It's 3 days and it's I think around 43 films like total.
Mark, you should have done one of those experimental like 3-minute films. It's just like you drinking an energy drink in black and white. That'd have been perfect.
They just like jumping around like on like a trail cam or something. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And then you put on like a raccoon suit and you go run around in some trash or something.
I would have selected it.
Yeah, Mark, it would have been great. This would have been called Sweet
I'd
Mark.
leave this behind.
Maybe next year.
Yo, we got to submit one for next year. That'd be hilarious.
You
should. We have to do it. We were gonna do it. We're totally gonna do it.
Nelson, you're not allowed. You're not queer.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll be
you
the
don't have to be.
The majority.
I'm saying it now. He's not allowed.
Damn it. Look, the majority of people involved will be okay. I'll be the silent backer. You know,
the most that you can do is hold the camera. Okay?
I was about to say, let me hold the camera. Let me at least hold the camera. I'll get the.
Mark is the star. I'm the director. You are coffee boy.
I am coffee cameraman. I got the camera. I got the stabilizer in one hand and like the boom mic, and you see it come in the frame multiple times. We had my total sidetrack, but it's reminded me with the short films like that. Like when my family gets together on my dad's side, we always, my cousins and I, make fun of my dad because he's like one of those like angry boomers that makes weird noises. And my cousin and I were thinking about like we should just film my dad in black and white, like when he's we'd call it Boomer, and it'd be in black and white, and it'd be nothing but like him like trying to do something. We had it like him going to sit down to watch like one of his conspiracy DVDs, and him like spilling something on his TV tray and just getting really mad. I'm like, and it would end and it would just be Boomer. But
you need an artsier title. It's gotta be like lead poisoning or something.
It's gonna be like it was gonna be like Boomer. It was gonna sound French.
No, the accent part.
It's BO with like the line on top.
And it was literally gonna be in black and white with like just like music in the background, like classical music, whatever, and then just no sound, and you just see the frustration on his voice, like trying to program his phone or like just do anything when like something goes wrong, like typical something that we could do normally, but like boomers can't, like rotate a
B-roll
PDF.
of like eggs dropping on the floor. sitting on your glasses.
Not knowing where your phone is,
make it happen.
like going off with the really loud ass boomer ringtone. Oh my god. Jay, what has there been any? So we all know that the times we live in, shit's getting rough. Has there been any, especially recently, has there been any pushback in that area against the film festival?
Yeah, that's such a good question. We get asked that a lot. Right now, thankfully, we have not gotten as far as this year goes, like any sort of internet traffic that's been like, hateful and stuff like that. We do have like conversations about like security and all that kind of stuff as far as like the event goes, and just like talking to different people in the town and all that kind of stuff. So we're not foreseeing anything, although we're prepared. In the past, we've had like some incidences that haven't been like super great, as far as like we were funded by this like small grant, this really tiny small grant for like a little bit. And as soon as they realized that, it was like Appalachian Queer or whatever, they removed our funding. It said that it was like wasteful and all this stuff, and like
what
an article came out about it. And we're talking about like pocket change and the like hands of actually like people that have money that can like fund like art stuff and whatnot. But that's been like the most like sort of negative feedback that we've gotten. I think, as the climate changes and things are becoming obviously very hostile, especially in like West Virginia right now for trans youth, and North Carolina and all those things that we're seeing, situations might change. But we're just kind of hoping that people are not necessarily paying attention to us, which I guess is a good thing and a bad thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's totally it's a good thing that you just like want, like it's people like in the South and Appalachia, it's always good to like have the community know what you're doing, and like to everyone comes in, like when we have Pride in the South, like in Alabama, for example, it's good that like the community, like allies and everyone knows that's going on, but like it's great when like the far right doesn't pay attention.
Exactly.
And they're just
that's kind of like, where it is right now. It's like we're known a lot by like the different pride organizations and queer organizations and different like art foundations and stuff, but like I think we've been lucky in that those assholes haven't necessarily caught on to us.
Yeah,
I'm kind of hoping it stays that way, but we're prepared.
Well, it sounds like the growth has been really cool. Like it's great that like it's growing and it's getting better, and COVID didn't ruin everything, and it's coming back.
Like coming back stronger with the intentions of like, we even have plans in the future to hit up other states in Appalachia in the South and just kind of like
that would be awesome.
Take our show on the road, so to speak. So yeah, that'd
be so cool. There's so many independent, like people don't realize that there's independent movie theaters in the South and Appalachia, totally. Like the old ones. Yeah. There's like total old school, like one screen theaters that like have, indie shows and like and just stuff like all the time that people don't realize. And there's one in my hometown of Montgomery that we go to all the time. And I'm pretty sure there's plenty others throughout the South. How has, so with I guess with indie films in general, but particularly y'all, how has the writer's strike with SAG and everything gone? Has it like helped? I mean, not like it's like to promote like while like in solidarity, obviously with the union workers and SAG and everything.
Yep.
But like, has this not to? So obviously these indie folks don't want to scab, but like, has it helped promote like indie films that are not associated with like SAG and anything like that to really come forward and be like, hey, we have indie films that like, if you want to support SAG and you want to not like view big time stuff, well, hey, come support us, because we could use support too. So like, how is the writer's strike and everything, how has that affected y'all?
Yeah, this is where I wish John was able to join us, because he's like super in that world of like filmmaking, and then is like very close friends with a lot of people that are striking right now. And actually like a couple of our like alumni, like different like folks that have been in films and stuff in the past are like currently striking, and we see that on social media and stuff. But I don't know if I'm the best person to answer necessarily like how it's impacting um us. I think John would probably know that better. I haven't seen like a real change in other than like solidarity and sharing, you know, like people are posting about themselves and like their work and why this is important and all of that. Um, Other than that, it's probably out of my wheelhouse as far as like how it's impacting filmmaking and revenue and like all that kind of stuff.
Okay, it's all good. What is I guess so? What are some notable submissions that you've seen so far that you think are going to be standouts? Like, what are you looking forward to when it comes to the
yeah? So my one of my favorite ones that was submitted is from it's about a farm. It's actually from it's not necessarily Appalachian, but it's from like a rural farm up north in New York. But like a rural space in New York, and it's about like land stewardshipness and BIPOC farmers that are also like queer and trans, and like, you know, owning land and what that means to like steward the land together and grow food and also be queer and trans and also be BIPOC and also be indigenous and all those things. So it's like a really amazing documentary film. It's called Pollinate, that I'm very, very excited about. That's one of my favorites. Yeah, and then like I said, there's a bunch of just really like sort of cute or like artsy, entertaining, like small shorts, some really hilarious ones. Some of them are like from local folks in Huntington, West Virginia, that we're like spotlighting. But yeah, it's just like all over the place. It's from anything from like documentary style that's like talking about a relevant issue to something that's like completely like artsy and experimental to just like love stories or comedies and stuff like that. So it really um runs the gamut there. I think there's really something for everyone. It's like something that John and I talk about often is like what might not like appeal to necessarily like us might appeal to like someone else. So we want to make sure that we have a lot of different like representations and things that people might like engage in or be interested in. And then the other exciting things to note is we do have a feature film that wasn't user submitted, but we brought on to be like our big feature film for Friday night, which is called Kokomo City. It's actually winning like Sundance Festival and a bunch of different big festival names, and is like, and it could be Oscar like nominated and things like that. It's actually about Black trans sex workers from the South, and we're bringing in two of those cast members from that. So that's like super exciting. And then another big feature film, well, it's episode is Queer for Fear, which is actually on Shudder, so people can watch it if they'd like. But the relevance to Appalachia is the producer is actually from West Virginia, so we're showing one of those episodes and having like a live Q&A with him because he uses horror in a way to explore like LGBTQ history and like themes like conversion therapy and being in the closet and all those kinds of stuff, horror, and it kind of explains those motifs. So it's like really interesting as well.
I definitely check. I like Shudder. There's some good stuff on Shudder. Definitely check that one out. All right, Kai and Mark, what are we gonna do? I think we should do something funny. I think we should do like a short.
Yeah, what
is this happening?
And why is it like? Why are you spearheading it?
We're because if I don't, it's not gonna happen. It's gotta happen.
So that we can take a spot from somebody who actually like puts their heart and soul into their art, right?
We are gonna put our heart and soul into this. Okay, we're not gonna half-ass this. We're gonna put our heart and soul into this.
We're gonna whole ass it. Okay.
Exactly.
I'll tell you right now. When I was in middle school, we had to make a movie for our honors English class. Like we were put into groups and we had to make a movie, and I was the director of our movie, which turned out very bad. However, I would be willing to reuse this idea, and I called it. The name was 13 Arrows, and it was about Indians, like Indian ghosts, coming back and hunting down people that disturbed a sacred space. So
like a poltergeist.
I will make this happen again.
We're gonna do it. Okay, we're doing 13 Arrows, right?
Do it.
The only two actors, Kai's directing, right, and the only two actors are me and Mark, right? And we have different scenes.
You're the guy that dies and everything.
Exactly.
You get all 13 arrows in you.
Exactly. And Mark is the indigenous ghost that kills me every time. So there we go.
So the point was that there was 13 arrows, and I think there was like 15 people who were part of like this thing that like disturbed the sacred space, and the two people who didn't get killed were like not white. Like everybody else was white, and they got killed.
No, and we gotta get your Uncle Little involved somehow. He's just like, you just see him.
He's the guy that works at the gas station until you turn back.
No, he will not deal with. He is the one that you send out in the woods to make noises.
Exactly.
Right? That's what Uncle
it's like
Little does.
like every time you see his face, something bad's I'm gonna die. Like that's it. You see a little, and then
We're
Mark
just
comes
gonna
out of
put you
nowhere.
in different costumes over and over and over again.
God.
So you
Exactly.
play the 13 people.
Exactly. That's how like one of my favorite TV shows, Danger 5 did it. Like it was literally such a small cast. I was this Australian like comedy thing. It was such a small cast that like literally the bad guys that died in like 2 scenes before would come back and be other bad guys. And so it's gonna happen. I'll just like wear different, just wear different outfits, and then Mark just kills me 13 times. 13 arrows. There we go. Boom.
I do think that like actually Mark's idea of using a trail cam, like your only medium being a trail cam, is really interesting. That would be such an interesting perspective on something.
That would be. It's just Mark dressed up as a raccoon getting caught on the trail cam multiple times.
I still think that should be one.
We'll do some kind of stop motion like wear raccoon makeup on Mark, so it's just like a close up on the face, and every time like it changes, it's like more raccoon furs like creeping up. And
it's just it's a metaphor for society, man. Where
animals are a good like shorthand for transness in some ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Werewolves are trans.
See, you have to have art in it, Nelson, not just chuckle fucks.
Look. I'll bring the chuckle fuckness, right? And y'all bring the meanings.
Bring the art.
Yeah, you all bring the art. I'll bring the chuckle fuckness. Okay. Y'all give it legitimacy. I'll bring in like the stupid humor. Now I'm not gonna profit off this. Okay.
No, Mark, I need you to understand right now that if we did anything like this and we ended up going to a film, like for some reason we made something that got selected at a film festival, neither of us would be willing to talk in front of anybody. We would just be standing there awkwardly. Okay, so
half the mic and it's just static.
We have to keep him so that he can talk to strangers.
It's all right.
The podcast is really just Mark and Kai. I'm here to talk. That's it. I'm actually a puppet, and they control me, and they ask the questions through me.
Jesus, if you were a puppet and we were controlling you, half the things you say would not happen.
I know, right? I'm a rogue AI that they created.
Rogue AI.
That's another thing we do. We submit a film that's just written by AI. It's just we do.
No, absolutely not. No,
it's gonna happen.
We're gonna.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's gonna happen. I hope you guys catch it before it gets anywhere.
God. Oh.
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for that. Like
we are
some point, like some AI.
Well,
Oh my
Apparently,
God.
Google
Oh.
Docs has been using everybody who has Docs on there to scrape for AI teaching. So eventually, something that I've written in the privacy of my own Google Docs
Oh,
is going to end
shit.
up in something,
Oh, terrifying.
right?
Someone's
There's
gonna rip.
people out there now
I have a-
scrambling.
I have an old I have an old pilot for an LGBTQ crime fighting show. And so they're gonna rip off my pilot. I'm gonna see it on Netflix.
I said, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That was my storyline. No, we've had to at the where I work, we've had to send people to go to conferences to talk about how to integrate AI into the classroom because like we can't stop it. It's just like it's gonna happen. It's just like, oh God.
Yeah, I have friends that are like teachers and stuff that are like having to deal with like how do you how do you deal with like students that have submitted entire papers written by AI?
Yeah, no, it's and like
And I was like, I don't envy you one bit.
it was like lesson plans, like using like AI to write lesson plans. Like that's fucking. I mean, that's pretty cool. That makes it a lot easier. But like I was talking to one of my coworkers, and he was like, "Yeah, it's pretty wild." And I was just like, "But it can't source stuff. Like it would just come up with jumbled like BS sources." So like once it gets to the point where you can like use it to make like legitimate sources, it's gonna like there's your research paper. Just be like, I had a research paper on this with these sources. Boom, there you go. So Mark, you picked a perfect time to go back to school. You can use ChatGPT to write all your shit.
We don't envy you.
Valedictorian over here.
I'm thinking about the one time that I had a drama teacher just tell me to my face that I was plagiarizing when I had bothered to use the words Hellenic and Hellenistic because I was doing a costume report. And like Hellenic and Hellenistic are two different things. And I learned the difference between them. And I used those two words. And she looked me in the face and said I was plagiarizing just because I knew these two words.
And that is the beginning of 13 Arrows right there. That is the beginning. The first one to go, drama teacher.
I will say right now, that is the same teacher who, like, before any of my friends could drive, my dad would drop me off at school and I was always the first one. And I would stand next to a pine tree that was next to the tennis courts to wait for my friends. Like it was just my designated spot to hang out. And that teacher walked past me one morning, stopped, turned around, came to my face and asked me, "Do you talk to that tree?" And I was like, "No."
Oh my God.
And she says, "Well, I know that you're Native American and that Native Americans have
Drop her
like
name right now.
Okay.
Yeah, she's the first one.
I'll put on a wig and play her, and 5 different arrows go for this one person. It's really her, and then pick like some other people. She gets 5 for sure out of the 13.
The thing.
One of them is by a tree. A tree literally shoots her with an arrow.
Just the tree does it. Just the branch just curves
And
around.
Dude, it's like it's your uncle, it's Little's arms like coming around the tree and shooting her with an arrow.
I have stories about that school. They'll happen one day.
God,
There's more stories to tell.
Fucking wild. All right, Jay, the biggest question I wanted to ask is, have you seen the music video for Tyler Childers In Your Love?
Yes.
And how much did you love it? Because I fucking loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Tyler fan in general. We actually, John and I have been talking for a while that like just trying to like get him to like know us in some sort of way.
That'd be so fucking wild.
And then he dropped that.
Says Tyler.
Yeah, and then he dropped that music video, and I was like, I mean, come on, like you have this music video. Silas House like did your whole entire like, I guess he was like the creative like director to it and all that stuff as a queer Kentucky person, and we were just like, this is our time. Like we have to. But yeah, I cried like a baby when I saw it.
Same.
It's done so well. Like there's been like I actually have like a favorite country song, one of my favorite country songs that like is by a smaller artist, that it's actually a story about like queer coal miners, but like I don't think it ever got the recognition as someone as kind of like well known as Tyler has been. So yeah, just like the song and like his platform alone, and coming from like a straight guy as well, like not a queer country artist singing about love, I think is also like really cool. Um, but yeah, and it's just been really also super interesting to see like, like the support that he's getting, and then
Yeah.
also like the bullshit that's like, he doesn't know Appalachians and blah blah blah, like calling, like us terrorists and all this stuff. I'm like, you don't know Appalachia, as if, like gay people haven't existed since as long as Appalachia has existed.
Yeah. It's like there's gay coal miners, buddy.
Yeah, it's just like he's not the first one to write about this. It's just like it's like a platform to share that kind of stuff. But yeah, it would be our dream if there's some way he would like know about us.
That is just like he literally just like hit after hit. He just cannot miss. It was just like,
yeah.
Mark, I don't know if you've watched. It's the song is beautiful, and the music video is beautiful. Like everything about it is just it's beautiful. Like it made me cry. I was like,
I think it's clear that I live under a rock most days. So
yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that. It's like stuff like that hits huge media in a way where that's been really interesting to see, like people like him versus this whole like Oliver, whatever the fuck his name is, like trying to like, he lives up the road from me, by the way.
Does he really? I call him evil. I call him evil Tyler Childers.
Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting to see like the stances, sort of like when we talk about like Appalachia, like the stances that people kind of like, like gravitate towards, and like this is what Appalachia is about, or this isn't what Appalachia is about. Yeah, and just like the internet dialogue that creates.
And how dare you?
Interesting time.
How dare you buy fudge rounds with EBT? Damn it!
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh,
I'm just like working class solidarity.
What? God. Oh my god.
Yeah. So that's what's so interesting, is that like, and I think I say that to say that like that's exactly why this film festival kind of started, was to like challenge those narratives about what people like believe is what Appalachia is and is not, and who like exists here and who does not. Just like in the same way that Tyler is bringing about the fact that like, yeah, there are fucking queer coal miners like in Appalachia. So yeah.
So go ahead, Kai. I'm sorry.
I was actually,
don't shoot me.
Shut up, God.
We haven't had an episode in so long. You got to tell me to shut up multiple times.
Shut your mouth.
And we're back.
I was at an event in July where I met somebody. I've never met this person before, and they actually turned out to be interested in the podcast. And I was saying to them that, oh yeah, in the future we're going to have the Queer Appalachian Film Festival come on the show, and they stopped me like dead in my tracks. And it's like, that something like that exists. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Like, okay, granted, this is England, and God love them if they even know what Appalachia means in England, but the fact that it like stopped them so like sharply, like how could that exist? Like, well, because there's all kinds of people that live there. So, and having the narrative be run so long that it's only X, Y, and Z negative thing, and people that exist outside of the norms don't, they can't be there. They're automatically to be, shot down in the streets if they exist outside of themselves. Yeah. But just like it really surprised me. But then I remembered that like, well, these people didn't grow up in the States. They didn't grow up in the South. They didn't grow up, learning that, hey, they're everywhere. They're in the South. They're in Appalachia. They're it's not just cis straight white men and the women who follow him around live there.
Yeah. I mean that comes up like I would say like the most like internet stuff sometimes that we get is like people like not even really hateful stuff, but people that are just like, haha, is that a joke? Like, You know, is that like a joke? Like what? That sounds like a, I don't know. Someone said it the other day. I don't know what their word was, but I'm like, no, I assure you that it's real.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
this is a satire page. This is just a joke. We're just sharing memes, particularly about one.
Yeah.
It's a very niche meme page, actually, y'all.
We're definitely not actually, you know, having to deal with the fallout of how demonized queer people are in the United States right now. We decided to make this up as a joke and then deal with that on top of it.
The Appalachian Queer Film Festival is in of itself an avant-garde, you know, indie film 3-minute long thing. It's just it's you know, it's satire of itself, kind of like an Andy Kaufman deal going on.
Right.
Throw in some other big words I don't understand.
But yeah, that's yeah. So to your point, yeah, there's just a lot of misconceptions.
Yeah, oh yeah, like you're preaching to the choir on that one.
I know.
It's like
I don't even have to like come on this podcast and be like, you know, Appalachians are rooted in fucking working class solidarity, coal mining strikes, and all of that. Like,
you don't say, really.
You all get it.
I never would have thought of that. It's like we should do a podcast about this stuff. Holy shit.
You mentioned that to a white man. Of course, he's going to start a podcast. Since he said that, 3 more have started.
Hey now, when it comes to what we do, it's literally us. Well, Trillbillies is obviously number one, and then there's us. I'm telling you, you know, we're the indie podcast compared to Trillbillies.
The medium-sized fish in the small pond.
Medium-sized fish in the large ocean.
Gasping for air.
We're literally like, hey, we're here. Compared to like Trillbillies Worker Party.
It's drying up.
A disused pond in a park that nobody goes to. There's Trillbillies, which is a giant koi carp, and then there's us, who's like little tilapia that's flopping around next to it.
It's just like the steady, like a little trickle of a stream keeps us alive.
We're a minnow that a kid couldn't bear to put on the hook, so he put it in the creek.
I was gonna say we're some kid's goldfish he flushed down the toilet.
What's left in the South? Some kid's goldfish that made it out the toilet.
That's going on a t-shirt.
I was just about to say that's your next t-shirt.
Yes.
We got to raise money for Mark's surgery, so here we go. We got
really
to
I'm
it out.
not gonna lie. We gotta make that shirt, and then we gotta make what were the other ones? It was Mark's perfect meatball size making hand, something like that, and then these meaty peasant hands. And then it's gonna be like that, just the logo, and then it's gonna be what's up to the South, where some kid's goldfish got flushed down the toilet. Take it way back to the 3rd episode, right? We're the Billy Largemouth bass that is covered in tumors from the fucking shit that Monsanto dumped in Anniston, Alabama. Taking it way back.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Wow, that derailed real quick, didn't it?
God damn it.
So real though, like
it is.
I feel that.
Oh my god, it's just like
you're trying to compete with, like, you know, like I do the same thing. It's like I look at these like huge fucking queer film festivals, you know, that exist in like California and all this stuff, and I'm like, how does it?
Yeah, I'll tell you how. It's because of all the queer Southerners that decided, like, I gotta get the fuck out here. They moved to California.
Yeah, so true.
It lives off our diaspora. Yeah, it's just literally. But then
all
like,
the time.
But then like the stuff here survives because like people either one don't want to leave or two can't leave, and it's just like
one or the other.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my god. But I guess Jay, my next question would be like, going back to misconceptions about the South and Appalachia, when the submissions, like from the beginning and up till now, like how would you say, like diversity wise, like are you seeing more like BIPOC creators come in and film artists and like stuff that's like coming to the forefront that that probably wouldn't have been like 10 years ago? Like, are you seeing more? Like, are you seeing more of that
I think
representation?
so. Like I think it's been like a mix for sure of people that submitted. I think that was like one of my biggest like kind of like worries and concerns that I was like, oh, I don't want to like open up all of this like user submissions and then get like, a particular like just one perspective or one, like story or whatever, just because we know how like different Appalachia can be. So, I think that's why we not necessarily are always like it has to be filmmakers from Appalachia or it has to be queer and trans folks like from Appalachia, but also like we can tell stories like the folks from up in like New York in rural spaces or international like films and stuff like that. Because it's like I think it's also like important to have like spaces in the South in Appalachia where like that stuff is actually like showing in theaters and things like that, so that like people that don't have the opportunity to go to like these bigger like urban, like big like Outfest and stuff like that, they don't have the opportunity to go out to like LA and do all that. So there's like a space for people to see films that are like more closer to like home. So, we tried to like think about it in that perspective too, is like, of course, we want to like uplift like folks from our region, but we also want to make sure that like, for example, like the stories of Kokomo City, some of them are from like, the South, and then others are from New York City. So it's like important to like bring those stories and have like discussions to our area too.
Hell yeah. I think that's awesome. People don't realize that like Appalachia, like just it comes down to the South, but also as parts of rural Pennsylvania and rural New York that are basically, as someone who's worked in the Catskills, is like damn near close to, rural Alabama. It's just like, oh shit. I remember driving through like before the summer of 2016, like seeing a bunch of Trump signs. I was like, am I back home? Did I like never leave Alabama? Like what? I see like Confederate flags. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm in New York.
Yeah.
What would you like to see the Appalachian Queer Film Festival like become? Like what would be your goals for the future? Like what would you like to see it?
Yeah, I mean our goals are definitely like to take it on the road, like I mentioned. Like we want to go to other areas of the South and Appalachia, to bring it to other areas, Virginia, where we were like all from and born. So that's like one of our goals, to be able to like partner with other like rad organizations and stuff like that. Another big like goal of ours, and we've done this on a very small basis, but like with getting more grant funding and stuff, is to be able to do like film workshop type classes for like queer and trans youth, just to be able to like give opportunities, like if folks want to like create films or learn that kind of stuff, to be able to do that. And then also we have plans to start like scholarship funds for specifically what we're thinking right now is definitely like queer and trans folks, and particularly like BIPOC queer and trans folks, to that if they want to like develop some sort of like art or film or whatever that looks like, to be able to take some of the money that's like coming in from this, not that we're rich by any means, but like, like be able to utilize ticket sales and then like push it back into the community, so that if folks are like, I want to make a film, but I don't like have the funding for that, or I want to do like a zine or something like that in my community, that we'll be able to fund people, so that people can feel like they can do exactly what we're doing.
That the workshop and like education stuff sounds awesome. That would be really cool to be able to
we've done
that.
a few, and it was like really, it was really cool. It started with John has a nonprofit that started doing arts, particularly that are youth that are impacted by like the opiate epidemic and crisis in Appalachia, to be able to give them like skills to hopefully combat some of that trauma. And then us trying to use it as like the Queer Film Festival to also offer it to queer and trans youth, particularly in the South, that are dealing with all this bullshit.
That's fucking awesome. I think that'll be really fucking dope. On a side note, I wanted to ask, is that a painting of a possum behind you?
It is.
It's Mark.
Here we go.
My nickname is the Possum Queen. I have possums like everywhere. So that's why when you guys were talking about we're talking about raccoons and I'm obsessed with critters.
Yay.
Yeah, it's awesome with like a toilet paper and banana wrapper.
I don't have my possums down here. I have a plush possum collection that used to sit behind me when we recorded, but I moved them all upstairs.
Mine are all like around the house. They're probably twins.
My little cowboy shirt with my little raccoon and possum.
Oh, that one is the best. Yeah, I've seen that online. We're friends.
Yeah.
You see what you're missing out on, Nelson? Because you never notice animals.
Oh my God. I notice animals. I just don't notice them as quickly as y'all do.
Street cats. They're the best.
Street cats.
Nelson purposely took a picture of me and Mark because we went outside of Mark's house one day and we heard a hawk, and so we're both standing underneath the tree and like pointing at the hawk, and he has a picture of the back of both of us looking at this hawk like some fucking anthropologist from 1870. Look at the natives.
Look at the natives.
Notice
the hawk. No, the best picture is what I have as the background on my phone now.
No. Our three personalities.
It's literally it's me going like this, Kai just pointing at the ground, and Mark in the background as always.
Jeez.
No, it's the best. Your background pictures are the best.
It's like a Where's Waldo thing. Like you got to spot Mark in the pictures.
Oh man!
Collect all 5. Get a free sub sandwich.
Oh my God, my face hurts from this episode.
Picture the stamp is Mark's face.
Nelson, this is a full episode. We gotta hold it together.
I'm holding it together. I'm just saying, it's like top 5 and get a free somewhere. Now I'm thinking like, what am I gonna eat? Because I'm hungry. There's the bigot chicken next door that like I don't want to go to.
Oh no, not the bigot chicken.
Fucking bigot chicken. That was the best thing you can. Kai's Chick-fil-A's fucking bigot chicken. I fucking love it.
Oh no.
Oh my God. It's just like, I guess I got to DoorDash something because I don't want to go to bigot chicken. Oh my God.
Anyway. I think it's awesome what you're doing because, I mean, if we don't create art for ourselves, no one else is going to.
Exactly. Yep.
I think that was beautiful, Mark. That was wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks. Did I get like a quarter in the jar or something?
You did.
Your next like donation is going to be $1 from Nelson.
What's the minimum I can give on GoFundMe?
Little anything counts.
Oh my God. Oh man. But Kai, Mark, do you have anything y'all want to
I thoroughly enjoyed this. I really like, just having a space to make art, like somebody's made a space for you, because like the mainstream art field is so heavily like geared towards certain people, and if you manage to break through, like if you are not a cis straight white able man, and we'll add women in there too because women get a little bit more as well, like you get kind of like fetishized in the field.
Oh, totally. Yep.
Yeah.
And so like just having a space where you can like be yourself and you can make art that is geared towards that to explain queerness or transness or any kind of those things. But you can also just make art because you feel like making art. It doesn't necessarily have to be about it. Like, you don't usually get those kind of spaces, especially like in the South and in Appalachia. Like you're not usually given that space. And if you can find it, you gotta hold on as hard as you can. So anybody who's in the area, go support Queer Appalachian Film Festival, please.
Yeah, and even like queer spaces, looking at you, Ryan Murphy, like they're all like hyper, like
sexualized.
Yeah, and like
whatever.
I can't watch like any like queer horror stuff without it being like super like
triggering in a lot of
face.
places. It's like the horrors of being queer. Like, yes, we know, we live it too. Can we have a little bit
that,
of queer
or
joy?
it's like a bratty like teen with blue hair, and that's like your representation in this horror movie, but they still die.
Yeah, always.
Yeah. So just a story, a single like any story.
Not in 13 Arrows. In 13 Arrows, the white man dies. In many different ways.
Remember, I made that when I was like freaking 13 years old. All right.
The remake is gonna be amazing. It's gonna win best new comedy horror at the Appalachian Queer Film Festival.
Oh God, no! I am not taking spaces from anybody who actually needs it.
Directed by Mark. There you go.
You have my job away already. I'm the director.
Okay,
Mark's the star.
Mark's the star. I'm just saying, 2 out of 3. We could do it. We could do it, and we'd win. We would. It'd be great. I'm down. I think we should all get together and do it when you're here, Kai. We should do it. We should do a film.
We'll film it in the back of a school, so it looks exactly like what I did when I was 13.
Oh my God. Jay, thank you for putting up with us. We really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Where can people find Appalachian Queer Film Festival? Where can people support y'all? And most importantly, what are the dates? So people, if they're in the area, can come out.
I didn't even mention any of the important information.
We've been pretty off the rails the whole night. It's okay.
It's October 6th through the 8th, Huntington, West Virginia, as far as the dates this year. Probably the best, like, keep track of everything is probably to follow our Instagram if you do have Instagram. It's just Appalachian Queer Film Fest. We've got like a link tree that has all the important information and stuff in it. We also have a website, appalachianqueerfilmfest.com. We have a Facebook. And you can buy tickets on any of those 3 platforms if you're interested in buying tickets. And I think that's about it. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Send me the link tree and I'll make sure to put it in the show notes.
Perfect. Yep.
And hopefully,
and Mark, we'll share your I'll go look for your surgery fundraiser to share it on.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Because that's another thing that's like really important to us, is like also to share what other people are doing, or like community like help and stuff. So we will definitely post that.
Very kind of you.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat, preparing for it in November. So
fun.
Solidarity.
Yay.
Mark has literally planned theirs for like 2 days after we all see each other in December.
Oh.
No stops.
But you know, we're not going to be there this time to take care of you afterwards, which is both a blessing and a curse.
God, the first time was the best.
You gotta get one of those. My friend gave me the pillow that they used for theirs.
Yeah,
it's got like I've heard that's a game changer.
It is a game changer for sure. Yep.
Yay.
But we'll be in the same boats around the
same time, the holiday season.
Around holiday season. Good for us.
So festive.
I've already titled Mark's Christmas Tea Eat. So
there we go.
Catchy.
And the weather outside is frightful. They gotta go.
They sure do.
All right, y'all. At what's left of the South, we believe the South will rise again, but this time for the right reasons. Those being work, role, means production, decolonization, and self-determination for all oppressed peoples. Make sure to click on our link tree in the show notes to find all of our social media and to subscribe to our Patreon. Shout out to our new Patreon subscribers: Creeker, Addison, Michael, Unhinged Tanky 69, nice, Heath, and Coleman. Our producer is Mr. Speaker. Our theme music is by the band The Last Thing Remember, edited by Psychotic Refuge. We are coming to you from the Magic City, Birmingham, Alabama, as well as Sweet Georgia and jolly old England. We also like to recognize that we are recording on occupied land. The rightfully belongs to Muskogee and Cherokee Nation. Thank you all for tuning in. I know we've been gone for a bit, but we're back. We're going to plan some stuff for the rest of the year. And then we're going to see each other again over the holiday season and have one more of our fireside chats with my portable recorder that actually sounds better sometimes than Zoom. And I'm going to introduce these fine people to hopefully the one thing that I love from my childhood the most, that brings me the most nostalgia. And I hope they enjoy it. Jay, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
For having me.
And everyone donate to Mark's GoFundMe, or you will die.
Eventually.
Maybe
This is
sooner.
a threat.
This
We
is a
all
threat. This
I
is a
mean,
threat. It's a
it's a
promise.
fact.
It's a fact. Kai and I will show up to wherever you live and murder you. Also, if you decide, I'm dead serious, if you actually pay for all of Mark's top surgery, the three of us will come hang out with you at some point in the near future. And we will annoy the shit out of you, and you will realize the truth that you should never, ever meet your heroes. Because you're going to realize we're just a bunch of fucking losers. Mark, do us a
You're
favor.
done.
God damn it.